Good evening and welcome to the December annual Parks and Recreation Committee regular meeting. Let's introduce ourselves. Alexander Wild, Jennifer Boucher.
Nate Fowle, Brian Pappas.
Okay, so with that, I will call the meeting to order. Pete, do we have any public comment?
Nope.
All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For the November minutes, I did circulate them ahead of time so that everyone could review them. And as long as everyone has reviewed them, doesn't have any comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the November.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving right along. The first item under old business is the Borat grant and the project status update for the Powell Town Forest. So I think we do have a few updates, but as part of the agenda, Nate and I have been working on the integrated management plan for ever. And we did provide a draft form of that to the select board last week and had a meeting with the select board that was dedicated to the town forest where Tessa McGann, who's the county forester, gave an overview of her proposed timber management plan. And then Nate and I followed with an general overview of the integrated management plan and solicited feedback on that. So, yeah, I think is that map from, or is that, okay, that map was from that.
Well, that map was from Celebrate Paddle Day, but I reused it for that.
So for rules. Yeah, so I mean.
I know.
It went great. I mean, Tessa.
Yeah, very little feedback. Yeah.
Tessa did a great job on her proposed timber management plan. I brought her she divided the forest into 21 stands and did like a thorough assessment. She actually had a slide where they took measurements or they did something at every portion of the forest where they had a dot. And I think there had to be hundreds of them.
Yeah, they like marked out a grid and went and sort of took samples of like what the tree mixes were at all those spots to kind of figure out what the overall sort of mix was. Yeah, very interesting. Oh.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, there's so many questions I could have asked and back on asking in the spirit of time, and that, but yeah, just like an amazingly thorough job she did on that. Yeah, so I think she has some additional items to wrap up. I think it was 50 pages long. And she's hoping to have that wrapped up in early January. And then do you want to talk about the integrated management plan, the feedback that we got?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that there were a couple of just little things they wanted to adjust a little bit of the language about hunting, just to open it up to more than just deer and turkey. So we can kind of look into what the implications of that are. I think if we wanted to open it to all hunters for all hunting seasons, then we would need to tell people to wear high-vis clothing like year-round in the town forest, which isn't the end of the world, but we just want to see if maybe there's a group of animals that can all be hunted in a more kind of consolidated season that folks could agree on that would allow us to like not have to sort of tell people to wear high-vis all the time. Yeah. The other thing was that a few people expressed a desire to kind of do, like if we were going to do some logging, how would that play out? And the only place that's accessible to log right now is the Camp Valley, where sort of all of our sort of trail plans and all that stuff are. And so we're going to look at where the stands of trees are. Tessa reassured me that, we can create buffer zones for the trails and this will be kind of minimally invasive if it ends up happening. And I don't know if the select board has any we haven't thought out who would actually do this or how any of it would work. It was just more conceptual, but they did just reiterate that they wanted to do some logging and,
Who would benefit from the logging?
well, I mean, I think it's kind of up to the town. Tessa said in a lot of cases when towns do this, they take any money they get from logging and it goes back into the town forest. Doesn't mean we have to do it that way. And I didn't hear anything from select board members that really indicated one way or another how they felt about that.
But everybody is so, I think she has this 10-year plan and, there's certain areas that are more needy than other areas like that, so it's not something that's gonna happen instantly. And also there's different quality of logs and.
Well, and ultimately, like, this plan is being developed by Tessa, so whoever implements it, like, I really trust that she's gonna do kind of what's in the best interest for the forest and forestry done in a smart, sustainable way, like, can make the ecosystem healthier. So I think as long as it doesn't, my only concern would be if it like really got in the way of other types of recreation in Camp Valley, just because like what people want in town is recreation, they don't care about logging. But it doesn't seem like there's gonna be.
Well, I mean, equipment for care for trails too, so we want to make sure contracts state that if they do get into trails, that they have to reimburse.
Yeah. I mean, some places it was like taking down a tree here and there, it wasn't like.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I'm gonna have a meeting with Tessa next week where I'm gonna kind of grill her on all the details of like how. Cause I don't even know like how sustainable logging like works, like what the process is. So I'm gonna try and kind of learn as much about that as I can, and I will report back on anything I've learned at the next meeting.
One thing I learned, or I think we all learned about, was beech leaf disease, is that what it was called? It's just like this new disease that started in Ohio and has worked its way around the country, and the most pervasive case they've seen in Vermont is so they don't have a lot of knowledge about it, it seems.
Yeah, there's not really a ton of guidance yet because they don't even know how
It's gonna die, are they gonna like regenerate, are they gonna come back, and if they regenerate, are they gonna come back with the disease? It's not only any treatments or any courses of action, it didn't seem like could be taken, but it was very visible up in the town forests and.
I think what Tessa suggested was kind of in places where it is incredibly pervasive, there's maybe something to be said for trying to kind of isolate those areas to some degree and then use them as kind of test plots to like see how this plays out. And there may be opportunities to get, Williams College involved or other schools that are doing like environmental science work involved, because this is kind of, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a cutting edge thing. It's a shame that we've got it there, but there are potentially some opportunities that kind of come out of that. And then she said, yeah, there are, in other places, like if we are logging, we can try, like clear some of those out. But yeah, they don't fully understand how it spreads, like what its effects are, sort of what the long-term implications are, anything. So it's hard to do anything particularly strategic about it at this point, other than just allowing them to like research what the effects are, or even, maybe we could figure out a way to set up some sort of simple program to go just like chat a handful, work with them to figure out a way we could do a little bit of just sort of monitoring, reporting on that for them.
At Roland, we have we participate in a hemlock monitoring program. And it's, I don't know, I think it's also volunteer run, but these groups show up every so often and they'll go on sort of a specific trail and check on all that. And they learn how, they get trained how to look for the woolly, what is it called, woolly adult something.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe that's something Conservation Commission could look at, just sort of figuring out like whether there are any organizations that do that or like how that process might work.
So the next steps are that we have some updates to make to the integrated management plan. Tessa needs to wrap up the timber management plan, which is a component of integrated management plan. And we're going to had one more opportunity for public input, and Nate talked about asking Conservation Commission if they would host a meeting at the end of January of public input if they, wanted to provide any input on that. And then hopefully after that, we can get sign off from the select board and the Vermont us and have it can be implemented.
Good.
And we got good feedback from Donnie Campbell on it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it did go very well, and there aren't any major things we need to change, so I think that's a pretty big win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. For the rest of the Roaring project, it didn't seem like there were any, and then the base operator still working through the Act 250 process with respect to the roadway, the parking area. The engineer is working on exactly what it was, impervious surfaces or something.
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
impermeable surfaces in the gravel pit, like they're measuring like the percentage of the gravel pit that doesn't absorb water, I guess, yeah.
So that's what's needed for this stormwater permit, so working through that, and hopefully we'll get good news.
Yeah, not blow the budget.
The budget did the grant extension, the grant extension.
Yes, yeah, for a year.
For us. Totally forgot. It was extended. Yeah.
Good.
So, depending on how this permitting, goes, there's potentially some monies left over in the category for trail improvements, so we can see if we can sneak in a week of work.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we could do a little more work on the existing trail, like going down to the river there and get those gates in
Yeah.
with the grant money, we'd be in good shape. And then, for the next trail project, we can look for another source.
Recreationals.
Yeah, so I do have an update on that. The signs are here, the ATV signs and the toppers for the recreational signs. So yeah, I think I'll probably try and get a hike out into the woods and start putting some of the signs up if we get some warmish weather at any point, or non-snowy weather. And yeah, the recreation signage, I think we should just kind of go for it at this point. I mean, we've got the toppers, like I've had some good talks with Joel Burrington about getting signposts in place when we're ready to do it. So I think I got some quotes from other sign companies, and they're honestly all really like, and GBH, like their decal option was like, they said they could do it for $55 per sign, but that doesn't include the sign. So that puts it potentially even a little more expensive if we don't have our own signs. It seemed like $60 to $70 a sign for the side, for the, now we're kind of 2 foot wide is kind of our standard. Is good no matter where we go, that's what we're gonna do. So the good news on that is that we could conceivably do our own design work and then just have Lucy print them, because she's getting us decent pricing and she gets bulk discounts, we print 4 signs. Because really I think the thing that was difficult was just the back and forth with her on the design, and since Alexander, you did most of the design anyway.
Well, how does the sign look? Does it look good?
I haven't actually looked at the sign yet. If you want to, after the meeting, we can go and dig around in there and see. I don't know whether they're in Tara's office, but she said that they came in, so they're over there somewhere.
And where does Lucy get her signs printed?
What?
Where does she get them?
Where did you get them printed? That I don't know. I didn't ask her. She might tell us if we asked her. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, I think I would love to sort of expand the group working on that project a little bit, just to get some extra human power to work on kind of the comprehensive plan for where all the signs need to go. And then the other element of this that I haven't I've done a little bit of research on it, haven't really started, is like working with the state to figure out how we can get signs on state roads. And I've made some inroads, I know a few people, but yeah, it'll be kind of a big project, but. I think it's
right?
yeah, and they are like they're in the process of changing their standards right now. So we're lucky that like the Western Inland Greenway folks are also talking with the state and figuring this out. So like the hope is that they will figure those standards out and we can kind of ride on the coattails of that and just once they know what it is, we can say, all right, tell us how to do this, and then we can sort of we'll likely have to do a different sign design for the ones that are on the state roads just to stay consistent with their requirements. But that's so yeah, a good project for 26.
We did set aside money in the budget.
Yeah.
So definitely think as soon as the opportunity presents itself, we should spend that money.
Okay.
And acquire the signs
Cool.
and any ordinances.
Well, yeah, I think it was like 28 signs sort of already figured out and designed, and that gets us most of the important points of interest outside of Town Forest and Quarry Hill Trail because those are state roads, but it only gets us going one direction. So we could either start there or we could essentially double and do signs in both directions for those points of interest. And maybe that's the plan, is like do all the local roads in 26 and then maybe try and get the state roads done in 27 or something like that. Because yeah, the town roads really, like the money and printing the signs is really the only limiting factor. Even the labor for putting them in is really going to be, probably 2 people can install them. It's really just having somebody to hold either end of this machine when they pound the boats in. So yeah, it's gonna be probably a few $1,000s to do everything, but yeah, I think it's a good project.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool, all right, well, I'll start kind of fleshing that out and figure out like what it's actually gonna cost to kind of do the whole rest of it, and then we can get that in the works.
You mentioned Quarry Hill,
Mhm.
and I did reach out to the Nature Conservancy, and their contact messaged me back, and I told them left a voicemail, but I haven't heard back, because we did talk about reaching out to them, and their signage wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah, within the Quarry Trail, the wayfinding was not good. If I were on my own, I would not have found it. So just kind of a little steward, that, but
Yeah,
not like how could we?
yeah, I think that's a great way to approach it, is just say, hey, like, maybe we could help you guys figure out a way to make the wayfinding a little better up there. Because with their permission, I'll go hang up a couple of arrows or something like that. It's only really a couple of turns.
Yeah, if you believes it wasn't really evident trail.
For sure.
So. But that's on that one. Holiday tree lighting recap, so I thought it was a great event.
Yeah.
And yes.
No, it was great, really well attended, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
Good times.
that count, it was like a 150 people, so that's. Yeah, that was a really good turnout. Yeah.
And what did you end up doing for the face painting?
So we had some teenage volunteers who did some tattoos. The painting, and then we bought some craft activities. So we put some ornaments and make a jingle bell bracelet.
Yeah, there was a bunch of different stations set up,
And
and
stuff
a lot
like
of kids using them, yeah.
So, and that was in the other room. I thought that, again, a teenage volunteer.
Mhm.
So
That was great.
to help with that, so. I thought that was a good break from the cold, even though it wasn't terribly cold. To kind of take a break, and what you see over here is the photo station that was set up by Tara. So they had photo station, and they have these little printers, so you could come get your props, you could come and get your selfie. Yeah, so, and the feedback I got was good.
I think we just got, yeah, like, the more we promote it, the more people show up, but it's a great event, like, and having. I bet it was a lot easier to have a bunch of different activities instead of just the face painting.
Yeah, the
and
line
create a
before was
backlog.
like up the door, the face.
And the kids seemed to like really have a great time, and it was awesome to be able to come here and spend a little bit of time to get out the economic level, for sure. Mhm.
Get out of that. So. Let's do that. Route 346 field updates, so there is an update on that this month. Nate and I met with the board from Penalty Sports to have a dialogue about ways that we could collaborate with them and understand their priorities for the field and their needs for the field. And so I think we had some interesting feedback from them. Let's see if I have any notes here quickly. A couple of things at the field. There is a set of bleachers that needs a repair. It needs to have some kind of a guardrail around it, which the insurance company, when they did their visit, identified that. And so there is a plan. We Parks and Rec did purchase some roofing material, metal roofing last year, of this year, and we're going to do like a multi-purpose railing shade thing with it, so we don't need those things, so that's expected to happen this spring. Cutting the brush back that we talked about along that, I reached out to Joel, the highway foreman, yesterday, and asked. I couldn't remember if the reason he couldn't do the work was timing. I couldn't exactly remember because we got a quote from an outside vendor, but he said that right now there's some downtime for the crew, so he would send them over there to start the brush cutting, and he did already. He sent me a picture, and they're already doing it. So cool. So yeah, so that's good news. One item. Their picnic tables there are in disrepair and are no longer safe to be used. I think, did you ever saw those there? So yeah, so those are being disposed of. So one item we talked about was a few years ago, we had a skating rink, which is no longer in use, but there were some, I'll never get this right, but like 2x6, 2x8 boards that were used for the perimeter of the skating rink. And so the idea was, and they're stored at the field. So the idea was, could we give them to Penalty Sports and they would construct their own picnic tables? So that's one of the items I wanted to ask about and have a vote about tonight. And then the other item, which goes along with new business, there's a need for a sign down at the field. And so the cost of that is about $1,000. So
$1,000?
it's $900 for the sign. It's gonna be the same sign that's basically the same design, same size as that sign there, plus the posts. How pretty, I guess, so it's.
Oh, so that includes the $1,000 includes the installation too, or just all the material?
It includes the material.
And then just Penalty Sports will install it.
Yes. Whoever installed here with that. So the first thing I wanted to take a vote on is if someone would be willing to make a motion to donate the leftover skating rink materials to Penalty Sports for their use for the tables.
Make a motion to donate the leftover skating rink material. Advice to the committee for the Lord's work to the Penalty Youth Association for the use makers.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So I'll get into it more under new business, but along with this, because we're for the sewer grant, I'll wait till new business. The other thing that we talked about with Penalty Sports was they could use some help, basically getting the fields in order and some of these things. So we were thinking about maybe there'd be like a day in the spring, as we talked about, we could Parks and Rec and solicit other volunteers. Could help with whatever was needed at the field. There's some other things that are needed at the field, like some sheds need to be replaced, there's like an electrical service with that, so there's some other. Items that still need cost estimates of that, but this day would just be to help them clean up the field, so.
One other thought I had, that somebody mentioned at this meeting, you know, for that walking path.
Oh, yeah.
They were saying that like the area where we were talking about doing this walking path is super flood prone and it goes underwater every year. So doing any sort of surface treatment is not worth considering. But if somebody suggested maybe just like putting some stakes in the ground and tying just like a little rope rail or something that kind of just indicate it's like between where the hedges are trimmed and this set line, and then we can just pop a sign in that says Powell walking path exactly, you know, 3/4 of a mile or whatever it is. So like if we did it that way, it'd be a very lightweight, easy
Yeah.
to do improvement. You know, one person could install it in a day. It would cost probably a few $100s worth of materials. Yeah, really the most expensive piece would probably just be the sign saying what it is and how to use it. So given that's the case, that is something we could try and do this coming year.
Yeah, I wonder once they hit a brush hog, will they be able to mow it, keep it mowed? Okay. Probably gonna
It
maintain
looks
it.
so different in the winter than it did in the summer.
So
So,
I think if we tell them we want to have the trail, maybe that'll be the motivator they need to make sure that they keep it mowed after they do this initial kind of brush hogging and whatever else they're gonna
I think
do.
it's the town contracts with Tristan
Mhm.
to do the mowing there, so it might be part of that arrangement. And I think I don't know visually what it looks like after they've cleared this, or you know, if there's roots, like I don't know.
Well, yeah, we can get a look at this volunteer day and make some plans and then come back
Yeah.
and try and do something.
Yeah. But I think they said they had like 75 or 80 kids as who participated from Powell for esports, so that's a good, pretty good. Pretty good turnout, something we want to continue to support.
And then the Stewart's matching grant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's later on the.
That's okay,
Yeah, yeah, well, anyway, yeah, we were talking about maybe using that for the money for the sign. Yeah.
Right, the next agenda item is the tour de terminal of DB. So that is Alexandra. You know, Emily?
We had just a sort of a planning meeting to sort of introduce all the members, and we're still trying to figure out what the first kickoff meeting, which most likely won't take place until January. Somebody from, the bicycle shop in Bennington, I get her name wrong, Jessica. Gave us all access to this app, that will help us develop the actual tour, and we're gonna. Yeah, so we can sort of collaborate in terms of developing the actual tour, and I think what Emily was saying is that she generally sees this less focused on the Hoosick River, which it originally I guess was. And sort of focus it more on, you know, definitely have it start here at town hall.
Is there a date yet, or?
Yes, there is, October, sorry.
Well, October is getting out.
October something, yes, sorry, I just got.
It's okay, so October 26th.
Yes.
Okay. All right,
And I can give you that too.
much more to come.
Yes, yeah. But one thing was that I threw in there that I felt like it would be nice to have an element that includes young bicyclists. Because the actual ride is, as far as I can tell, really not something that you know, a young person's or child is gonna do. So sort of some ideas trying to figure out how to make it sort of more inclusive.
Yeah, they started here, they had some starting here for the young kids just up the road, but and they're really young.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, do a little loop or something.
Yeah, and then we don't have much traffic here, so it's, yeah.
Or for the really adventurous kids, you could do just like Burrington Road from start to finish and then get a bunch of people to go out in the street and stop traffic while everybody crosses over to town hall or something.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think we didn't have an age on it before, I don't remember. that.
Yeah,
We could also.
well, because they don't, sorry, because they don't close off streets anywhere, so,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm scared to go out on those streets.
try and just do like a kind of bike oriented event like at the park here. So, you know, there's a group that goes out and does the ride, but maybe the rest of it is just like, hey, like we've got new bike inner tubes if you need them, we can help you tune up your brake, you know, just some other kind of
This
biking
fabulous
thing.
station down there.
Right around on the skate park, and then, yeah, you know, you could have like, maybe on Center Street, you could do like timed races or something, you know, like drag races or something like that, or yeah, figure out something fun to do.
Jumps out there.
Yeah, sure. You gotta jump the kids off the woods.
Jump over.
But yeah, like finding a way to, because it is a narrow subset of bikers that can like do any riding around.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I think the goal, ultimately, the goal is to also, you know, sort of put some focus on the fact that people are speeding through town and that, you know, that there's recreation going on here and that, you know, there's a point to slow down
Mhm.
traffic.
Put it that way. Yeah. Okay. All right, moving into new business, the Stewart Shop matching grant. So we've applied for this grant every year. We do need to get select board approval for that. And so last year was the bike station. And so this year we were thinking that, field improvements would be a good, you know, benefactor, of the grant. We typically get about, I think, 1,500 every year. No matter what we apply for. And there really no restrictions for the grant, so we could put in, you know, for the sign and maybe for some other improvements, and if for some reason they need more money, then we'd have the money, but if not, then, you know, we at least have the money.
Yeah, I mean, the sign, some picnic tables, you pick up 15 pounds, a couple of picnic tables and the sign.
Yeah.
What if we asked for materials to do this walking path along with the sign, since the tables are already paid for?
Yeah.
And yeah, I bet, you know, $500 would be more than enough to do that.
So with that, I'll entertain a motion, to seek select board approval for the grant to benefit the field.
Sure. I'll make a motion to make a recommendation to select board to give us permission to apply for this grant.
I'll second.
Alright. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. What is the due date of that? In January.
No, there's something else that was at the end of December. I will check on.
I mean, I can get this, select board is meeting this week, so I can write something.
Cool, okay.
This week. I think it's usually in January,
January 31st. That's
Okay.
it.
and it's typically awarded first week in March or something. Right? The next item under new business is input to the select board on the fiscal year budget and future priorities. I'm not sure if you saw on the town website, that there was a survey, where the select board was seeking input on priorities for the general fund budget, the road budget, and anything else, basically. So I didn't know if, Parks and Rec would like to weigh in on that, or not. The only item I was thinking about that might be helpful is if there was a pool of money available for as matching funds for grants. Then that might be useful and ultimately pay dividends, because some of these grants are pretty good, so.
Do you have an idea of like how much money you think we should ask them to set aside, or should it just be whatever you feel like you can afford?
I mean, I didn't have a number, in
Uh-huh.
mind, but $5,000 to $10,000.
I mean,
Very,
yeah, that, you know, that gets us a 20% match on like 50 grand, basically,
Right.
which is kind of in the ballpark of what a lot of these grants are. I mean, yeah, if they could set aside 5 grand a year, you know, then if we don't get a grant for a couple of years, then we can do something bigger. And also we're working on getting infrastructure in place to sort of do fundraising for stuff like this. Through like the community too, so it doesn't all need to come from the town.
right. And if it was a smaller amount, that's fine too, I just thought it would be helpful if you don't have the budget monies. If there were some funds to pull from, just for this, and with select board approval, it's
Yeah.
not like, you know, it just, so there was a line item in the budget. Specifically for that purpose, so that was my only thought.
So do you wanna sort of send up like a formal recommendation on behalf of Parks and Rec to like ask them for that?
Yeah. I
Uh-huh.
thought maybe I could just write an email and.
Okay.
We can vote on that.
Uh-huh.
I could write an email and say, you know, as you're going through this fiscal year budgeting process, it would be a great idea to start. Fund or have a few monies for matching available. For certain grants, but you know, if something for the forest comes up or,
Sure.
you know, any use, again, it's not just Parks and Rec, it's just for. So, I'll mention if anyone would like to motion for that.
Make a motion that we request the select board create a line item in the budget to fund a pool that can be used to support matching grants, dollars to match, to apply for matching grants.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Excited? Okay. We have a discussion, all in favor? Okay. All right, with that, we are to the next meeting date and time. Brings us to 2026. So, the second Tuesday in January is January 13th. So we'll go January 13th at 6 p.m. Is everybody seem good with that? Okay. Kate, is there any public comment? Nope. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much.